In my video about Flatbridge in St. Catherine, Jamaica, we learned that one of the folklores or superstitions attached to Flatbridge is that of mermaids. Some of the residents within that area believe that mermaids live in the water of the Rio Cobre and that they are responsible for all the deaths that have been happening at the bridge. This made me even more interested in mermaids in Jamaica. What's their origin? And how are they similar to mermaids or sirens in other cultures? So I went onto the Googler and I did some Googling, and this is what I found. Mermaids are featured in folklores across the world. They are aquatic creatures that are said to be half human, half fish. Mermaids are typically described as having the head and torso of a woman and the tail of a fish instead of legs. The male version of a mermaid is called a merman. Though a mermaid is often described as beautiful, the merman does not get such glowing reviews. Unless you are talking about the TV versions like Aquaman that are normally depicted as handsome. Also true is that most of the folk tales related to this creature are in reference to mermaids and very seldom to mermen. The mermaids of today are generally believed to live deep in the ocean. They are typically described as sitting on a rock, combing their hair, and looking at themselves in a mirror. Many people have no negative connotations when it comes to mermaids. For most people, on hearing the word mermaid, the Disney version is what comes to mind. But originally, and still in some cultures today, they have a more sordid reputation. In some cultures, mermaids represent a bad omen and are often described as mischievous creatures. They are linked to storms, shipwrecks, floods, and drownings. On the other hand, some cultures depict them as benevolent beings that bestow happiness and good luck. Even though there is no evidence that mermaids are real, proclaimed sightings still persist in recent times. Let's delve into the origins of mermaid mythology, because all of this must have come from somewhere, right? Yes. It is believed that the stories of the sirens in Greek mythology influenced the Western idea of mermaids. Described as half woman, half bird, the sirens were mysterious but deadly creatures that lured sailors to their death with enchanting songs. They were even said to possess the power to control the winds. During my research, I came across many different versions of their origin, but I'm only going to share one with you. In the ancient tales, they were said to have been handmaidens for Persephone, who was the daughter of Zeus and Demeter. When Persephone was captured by Hades, her handmaidens were given wings to aid in their search for her. Unfortunately, their search did not prove fruitful, so Demeter, angered by their failure, cursed them to remain with the body of a bird. As further punishment, if anyone lived after hearing the songs of the sirens, then the sirens themselves would die. There are different stories of ancient encounters with sirens. I will share two with you. Remember Jason and the Argonauts? Well, when the Argonauts attempted to sail past the islands where the sirens reside, they fortunately had the famous musician Orpheus on board. So he played music to drown out the sirens' bewitching songs. As a result, they were able to pass safely. However, when the famed hero Odysseus had to sail past the island, he adopted a totally different strategy. He instructed his crew to place wax in their ears to block out the songs of the sirens. However, Odysseus, intrigued by the stories and wanting to hear the siren song for himself and live to tell the story, had his crew tie him tightly to the mast of the ship and ordered them not to untie him until they passed the island. When the siren saw that Odysseus heard their song, and did not succumb to it, they drowned themselves in the sea. Over time, the image of the sirens seemed to evolve to the creatures having a fish tail instead of bird legs. By the Middle Ages, sirens became the mermaids that most of us are familiar with today. Now that's just a cursory background on the possible origins of mermaids. I'm excited to read in the comments what you believe the origins are. If you've heard other versions, please share. Now let's bring the mermaid discussion a bit closer to home. Mermaids in the Caribbean. The recorded sightings of mermaids in the Caribbean go all the way back to Christopher Columbus. It was January 9th, 1493, when Christopher was sailing somewhere around the area of Dominican Republic, when he saw something startling. He saw 3 mermaids frolicking in the water, but they didn't look quite like the paintings that he had seen. According to him, they were not half as beautiful as they are painted. Whoa, that's harsh. Many historians widely believe that he mistook sea cows or manatees for mermaids. Now, this is a manatee, and this is more than likely what the paintings he referenced looked like. The two do not look alike to me. Now, different countries throughout the Caribbean have their own folk tales of mermaids, which many refer to by different names. If you're from an island in the Caribbean, please share your tales in the comments.
Mermaids in Jamaica. Now, in Jamaica, we call mermaids River Mumma or River Mother. As the name suggests, they are said to live in the rivers in Jamaica and are the mother to all fish. She's often depicted as sitting on a rock, combing her hair. The Jamaican mermaids are said to guard a golden table. Legend has it that the table was thrown into a river when the Spaniards came to Jamaica. The table sits at the bottom of the river where the River Mumma lives. But sometimes at high noon it rises to the surface, glistening in the sun and tempting passers-by to snatch it from the river's grasp. But anyone that tries to steal the golden table gets pulled with it down to the bottom of the river. The name River Mumma seems very familiar to Mami wata or Mami water, a term used in some African countries to refer to a water spirit. So it seems that more than likely the legend of the River Mumma came to Jamaica and to the Caribbean when people from West Africa were brought over as slaves. Mami Wata is considered a deity which is half human, half fish. She's sometimes seen as half woman, half snake, and has the ability to change fully into any of those. It is said that she can bestow good fortune and even bring fertility. She is considered a goddess and is worshipped in some cultures.
In Jamaica, there are many different schools of thought in regards to mermaids. It was while watching some interviews with residents about the supposed mermaids and their links to the crashes at the Flatbridge that I realized how deeply the belief in mermaids run in Jamaica. One man said that the mermaid's desire for blood is what is causing the accidents, and that in order to appease her, individuals would need to offer blood rituals. In this article, he's quoted as saying, "Some people come here in 2016 and walk up and down the river sprinkling blood, and after that, 6 people dead in Avatara." Now, while there are people who believe they exist and are probably even scared of them, I've never heard of anyone worshipping mermaids in Jamaica. And as a matter of fact, the other school of thought is that mermaids are not real. They're just a fairy tale, or in this case, a scary tale. What do you believe? Sound off in the comments below.